Well, hello everyone. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to Prehistoric Kingdom Alpha. My name is Swoop there and we are just outside the baryonyx habitat from my last episode for this desert mini park. Still happy with how it turned out, really loving the pools outside the entrance more and more, and the roof itself, despite it being a pain in the behind to build, it actually is quite unique. So I'm trying to look at ways to keep the game interesting and unique while we are still in alpha. I'm going to zoom up a bit here and talk about what I'm going to build today. I'm looking at building a Hyaenodon habitat and I'm looking at putting it into this space just here. It isn't going to be a huge habitat because they aren't really huge animals. I do have a reference picture to look at for the viewing building, which is kind of like my dream house. I'm not going to lie. It's a architecturally designed and built property. The house, I believe, is in Australia somewhere, but don't hold me to that. And I think it could convert really nicely into a viewing building, so I will pop a reference picture in at the end for you to see. Also, during the speed build, I am intending to talk a bit about the Hyaenodon. I have some of the information that I've collected about them. I also have some of the sound updates that Prehistoric Kingdom put out for the Hyaenodon, so I will add those into the speed build as well in case you're interested in seeing what they sound like and also what they look like, their movement. I'm sure there will be updates to that, but we've got some of the current movement online, so I've grabbed that to pop into the speed build as well. So without further ado, I will see you in the speed build and then see you in the real-time part at the end. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Well, here we are in the speed build, and I'm just going to talk to you quickly about some of the Hyaenodon facts that I have collected. It was quite difficult to find some of the facts for this one. There wasn't as much online as a lot of the other prehistoric animals and dinosaurs that I have built for. So I did find out though that the Hyaenodon was first discovered in 1838, and it was just a single bone that was discovered initially by I believe two people, their last names being Laser and Peru, so I don't know male or female. Their name Hyaenodon translates into hyena tooth, even though this particular animal is nowhere near related to any of the modern carnivores, which surprised me a little bit because of their name. Like I thought, oh, they must be like, modern day hyenas must be like descendants of the Hyaenodon. Apparently not at all. But the genus Hyaenodon has lots of different like subspecies or several species, and they have different sizes. The three that I read about were the Hyaenodon or the Hyaenomicrodon or the Hyaenodon microdon, and it's the smallest one, and it only weighed like around 11 kilos, so really, really small. And then the Hyaenodon horridus, which is what we're building for here, and that was estimated to weigh between 40 and 60 kilos, so between 88 and 130 pounds. And then you had the largest ones, which were the Hyaenodon gigas, and that was the largest Hyaenodon species, and it estimated that it weighed in around 380 kilos, so that's around 835 pounds. Some of the things that I did read about them were that it was fairly typical of an early carnivorous mammal, so it had a huge skull but a relatively small brain, and it most likely caught its prey by biting their heads and kind of cracking them. It had those really, really powerful jaws that it could kind of get a hold of animals' skulls and just kind of crush their skulls. So that's some of the Hyaenodon facts that I collected for you guys. I also collected some of the movement for the Hyaenodon, so I will pop those in here while I'm talking to you, and then just at the end of the voiceover I'll pop in the Hyaenodon sounds for you to listen to that I collected from online, the sounds that Prehistoric Kingdom have recorded for, hopefully including them in future updates to Prehistoric Kingdom, but still obviously no confirmation on that, but there is a lot of things online that we can suspect that there are going to be in the game. I am at the moment building the viewing area, the one that I was telling you guys about. It could be potentially my dream home. I am going to put a picture in at the end for you guys to see what I was looking at, the reference picture, while I was building this. I went through a couple of different schools of thought, I suppose, when I was building the Hyaenodon habitat. First of all, I was not going to put in like a keeper building. I was just kind of going to have a keeper entrance, a little bit like I do for the Protoceratops habitat, and then just leave it at that. But then I decided that no, I probably did need to have like a proper keeper building and keeper entrance. So I go in and put that in, and I end up moving things around quite a bit because I want this to sort of be seamless in the park. I don't want it to kind of sit in the middle, which it does for a little while. It kind of sits in the middle and doesn't really look like it's supposed to be there. So I end up moving the garden beds and actually putting the sides of the Hyaenodon habitat closer to the pathway. Here I am at the moment going in and building the keeper entrance and a little like shelter for the Hyaenodon to go into. I also end up like just small details, considering, you know, we don't have very many pieces, so I can't really be too detailed. But here's a little bench that I'm putting in here, and then I end up putting in some shelves as well, like just some little shelves for keepers to kind of keep things on, and, you know, just pop things in there that they might need when they're coming to feed the Hyaenodon. I also do end up putting a little window in that building so the keepers can actually look in and see where the Hyaenodon are in their sleeping quarters. And I use the Prehistoric Kingdom habitat barriers for this particular habitat. Like, I've done that for quite a few of the habitats in this park now, and I don't mind it, considering it does look quite realistic. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to leave you to enjoy the rest of the speed build. There's probably about 7 to 8 minutes left, and then I will join you back for the real-time part at the end. I'll put some relaxing music on and you guys can just enjoy. Well, hey everyone, welcome back from the speed build. I hope you enjoyed listening to some of the music from the Prehistoric Kingdom soundtrack. If you're interested in what they are called, the composer, and where to find them online, I will have the description, I'll have the links in the description below, so feel free to click on those. I also will have the links to where I found the movement of the Hyaenodon and also the sounds of the Hyaenodon. I haven't put the sounds on yet, but I am going to put them at the very end of this video. The reason I didn't put them in the speed build was because I thought that it linked quite nicely to have some nice relaxing music sort of coming in on the end of my chatterboxing. So I have, as you can see, done a few things off camera that weren't in the speed build. So I've put in these big planters here because I really did think that this pathway was just too wide, and I think we do need some trees and things to kind of shade the guests, because it would be quite a hot climate, this climate. So I think, you know, these planters would probably have a lot of watering going on all the time, so they're maintaining these trees and things. So I'm not too upset about putting in a bit more tropical kind of trees in this area. I've also got a planter down the end here. We'll go down that way in a minute, but first we're just going to head into the Hyaenodon Cafe. So we'll just head over here and we'll talk about this first. So I wanted to put these dead trees because, I don't know, I just think these animals kind of, they have a little bit of like the, you know, the hyenas from the Lion King kind of vibes. Well, I think they do anyway. So, and I just thought these sort of dead trees and things kind of really set off the tone for coming up into this viewing area. I've also got the ramp access as well. You can see here behind this tree. So we're going to take the stairs, but you could take the ramp if you needed to. So we'll go straight through here. You also have the doors on either side here for the staff to enter into the shop front or the cafe area. And I've got these rails on the sides so no one can kind of fall in to the Hyaenodon habitat. So as soon as you kind of get yourself, onto this deck area here, which is made, you would have seen in the speed build by individual pieces of wood. I just wanted it to be a little bit different to the pieces that we have in the game, the floor pieces. So we'll head in here, and then you've got this incredible vista over the entire Hyaenodon habitat. You can also come and grab something to eat at the cafe and take a seat here, and you can kind of sit and look out at the Hyaenodon. I've got like my realistic kind of base in the bottom of this pool here that can drain, and I also have a lot of kind of dead fallen trees around, and just one sort of just marquee tree that kind of sits in the middle of this habitat. So that they can have some shade outside if they want, but they also have this little shed or this little area over here where their bedding is. The Hyaenodon actually have a lot of opportunities for shelter and shade and viewing away from the guests. Beg your pardon, not viewing away from the guests, but just hiding away from the guests, because they have this entire area under here, and I've placed some bedding under here as well, so they could come under and sort of hide, but there would be quite a lot of noise going on above them, so they may not choose to do that. But I'm actually really happy with the way this habitat turned out. We'll head over to these viewing areas in a moment. The reason I put these viewing areas in was because you might not want to come to the cafe, and sort of, unless you're coming to eat here, you probably don't want to come and have people constantly looking in at the Hyaenodon. So I added these viewing areas here so you can have another viewing opportunity without having to come to the cafe. I also wanted to put them in because I wanted to have sort of these peek-throughs to this big lake behind. I didn't just want it to be like a fence. So when you're sitting here in the cafe, you can still see kind of the vista behind the Hyaenodon habitat. That was my sort of thought process behind that. So there you go. We've got this really sort of rocky, dead tree kind of habitat for the Hyaenodon. I really do think it will suit them. And then just this one lonesome tree over here. Let's head over to the keeper hut or the keeper entrance and the little Hyaenodon sleeping area. So you come in here, they've got their bedding in here, and then there's the keeper entrance. There's also a window here for the keepers to look through. And then if we head through the keeper door, we're in the keeper kind of, I don't know, like the holding area, and there's some shelving and some things where they might need to like cut up some meat or whatever they need to do. And then if you head through here, we've kind of got this sort of cordoned off keeper area. So there's a little gate over this side, and then they can kind of come along here and do what they need to do. I think I'll eventually put a pathway that connects up to this one as well, because this keeper hut is also going to service another habitat, which will be behind the Hyaenodon habitat. So that one's coming up soon. So let's go back to the cafe. So here we go. You can see sort of what the building itself looks like. I'm going to put the reference picture that I was looking at in here for you guys to see what I was looking at. I think obviously I made some adjustments and some changes because it isn't a house, it's a cafe with like a viewing area into a carnivore habitat. So it's completely different. But I think it turned out all right, actually. I'm quite proud of the way it turned out. We'll head on down the ramp here and we will go to the other viewing area so you can get a look at that. Excuse us, everyone. Excellent. All right, and we'll head this way, straight down the path and past all of the sort of planters and the Dionchirus habitat over there on the left. And then if we head down this way, it's all blank here because there will eventually be another habitat here. So we'll head this way and... Okay, sorry about that, guys. I just had to put a quick cut in. I live on like the 15th floor of an apartment building, and a cat just literally walked across my balcony, and it is super, super high. So I had to kind of go and get it. It was fine, but it was like clearly upset and lost and like running along the apartment building railings. And so I just grabbed it and then took it down to its owner because I happen to know where it lives. So, that was just my little bit of excitement for a Sunday evening. Okay, so anyway, this is our view from this side into the Hyaenodon habitat. I've got the mesh up the top here and the glass here and like these shaded areas. I haven't put any seating here yet because I am going to have a habitat behind here as well. So I will do that eventually. And then I've got like this little implied sign here for people to read about them. And then you've got this decent view in. I'll probably put some like leaves and grass and things in front of this sort of keep off barrier as well. So there we are. That's what I got done today, guys. I appreciate you watching. I appreciate you subscribing. Thank you so much for all your kind comments, and I will see you in the next one.